Starting up make the beat.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, as now we're back in. Question to Coach Julian was, what was the feeling of how you guys felt when the season was canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic, when MSHSAA decided to cancel it?
For us, or for me personally, it was just disappointment. I was disappointed, that we didn't get to see how the season played out. I was disappointed for the kids, disappointed for the parents, because all the preparation and everything was kind of over. We had our jamboree, a couple of us did, and then we were all ready to go. We were just a few days from opening up the season, and just really disappointed that it got taken away. Like right there. I don't know if it would have been easier to deal with back in November or something like that, but just kind of build up and just being right there on the edge of the season, then getting the floor taken out from under you was pretty disappointing for me.
Disappointing it was. And now, Coach Snider, how did you feel when the virus decided to cancel the season, or actually when MSHSAA decided to cancel the season due to the virus that went on?
That was just tough, having to tell the kids that, and then knowing in the back of your head that there's a good shot that you're not coming back and playing. It was difficult. You try to stay as positive as possible. You try to tell your kids, positive things and workouts, and then, the governor comes out and kind of shuts schools down for a while. And it was, I think, when the governor shut the schools down, or when the schools started shutting down, when we kind of came to the realization that, there's a good possibility that we were probably going to be done. And, as positive as outlook as we want to have, I think people knew that our time was limited probably, and that it wasn't going to go well.
Coach Horn?
It was either that Monday or Tuesday, and everybody was shutting down. We were kind of one of the last ones to go, and I was calling everybody whose name wasn't on KY3 that had canceled yet, trying to play that Friday. We had US Ballpark reserved. It rained all week. Thought we could play. But then Tuesday came. We got shut down. And then it was kind of a waiting game. Like I said earlier, I think the hardest thing for me right now is just all these people texting and wanting an update from me, being the leader, and I can't give them a straight answer. And because I still don't really know. The summer we've got a tentative plan, but we're still waiting on some of the other schools to say they'll even play. So,
Coach Harmon?
First we were kind of in limbo as far as looking at our schedules. Okay, this school's still going, this school's not, and maybe we'll get to play this game, maybe we won't. And then when our school gets canceled, you start looking around, and pretty much everybody is at that point. And, you have that time, those couple of weeks, to kind of prepare if this is going to happen. How do I handle this with my kids at the end? And then, of course, when it did happen, it didn't matter that you had thought about it or anything. It's still tough, and you still don't know how you present it. I just sent out a text to the group and the parents and the kids and told them, and then, started talking to them more on an individual basis a little later. Everybody kind of knew it was coming, but it was still hard to handle when it did come.
Coach Hughes?
Yeah, I think just to add on to what they did, I think you kind of go through the, denial, and then you're mad, and then, you're frustrated for all the kids that didn't get a season. There's 4 of us and 4 of our guys on this panel that their kids got at least a fall. Like Reed Springs and Glendale and Clever, their guys didn't get anything. And man, I can't imagine being a senior and not having any baseball my senior year. So, but at least for my guys, and, I had a couple of my 2 seniors say that, Coach, at least we got a fall. We got an opportunity to do that, and it's just absolutely was, bad timing, that it happened right 2 weeks after we started practice,
Coach Funk.
Yeah, I mean, your heart hurts for the kids and for the parents. Like Coach Hughes said, we were going to be really, really young, and we talk a lot about our seniors and their last chance, which it's very important. But we had a 12, 13 freshmen in our program that were getting ready to experience high school baseball for the first time, and they missed out on that. But again, just your heart hurts for those kids and those families, and how important this game is to them. And it is what it is in the grand scheme of things. We teach our kids about adversity in every program that's on this panel, and this is some adversity that they're going to have to deal with, and that we have to deal with this as well. It's easy for us because we're going to have next year, but for those seniors, it's a lot of them will not.
Coach Garrison.
Yeah, I think my thoughts go back to the players, just like the rest of us, and especially the seniors. I can't imagine spending the time and thoughts of setting all these goals as your senior year, and then to just not even have the opportunity. I can't imagine what that'd be like, and I really feel for them. And one thought I had as well is, we teach our kids about adversity, and it's a lesson I learned probably as more as an adult rather than as a kid, but you get to a point where you set goals for yourself and you're working hard to attain those, and you feel like you're making all the decisions right, and yet something bad happens to you or your career or whatever, and it's a hard lesson to learn. That's the world we live in, and these kids unfortunately had to learn it at much an earlier date, where bad things happen no matter what you do as a person. You could be doing everything right and still lose opportunities, but we still have a lot to be blessed for as well. And if we ever get back and fired up, hopefully we'll appreciate things better and not take things for granted, or at least myself, not take opportunities for granted. So
I take opportunities for granted, and as one thing is, once again the 2020 season was canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. That was MSHSAA's decision to cancel the 2020 spring season, and it does hurt that this season is not going to happen. But on the positive side, we have 4 coaches that do play fall baseball. Once again, that is Coach Bryan Harmon, Coach Josh Hughes, Coach Clint Horn, and Coach Joe Garrison from Mansfield, Hartville, Crane, and Purdy, 2 from the Summit and 2 from the SWCL. And so with you 4 coaches, isn't it a luxury that you guys get to play a fall season starting up in August and going until October?
Yes, and I know there's a couple guys on here that wish they still had fall baseball, I'm sure, and it's huge. By the time you're end of your sophomore year, you've had 4 seasons where guys at Glendale or Reed Springs, are clever now. They've got 2 seasons. So I think it's huge on development. I think it's huge for a program to have those guys for 8 seasons total during their high school career.
I can't agree more. We do summer baseball, but we would have to do a lot more summer baseball like these other guys do if we did not have fall baseball, I feel like, and we would keep our kids together more. It's just, you get a really talented freshman come in, and you get the fall to see what he can do sometimes, and then by spring you don't feel like he's a freshman anymore, and he's either proven to you he does belong, or he's fallen back to the JV level or something like that. But it just gives us a head start, and but we have to take advantage of that head start and make the best out of it. And, I've had coaches, umpires, people tell me, "Oh, it's just fall. It's just fall." Well, to me, it's not. It's baseball. To those kids out on the field, it's their season that's going on. And I think this year's seniors learned that it was their last opportunity, even though it was supposedly just the fall. you know, and I don't like to hear that because we compete, whether it's fall, spring, whatever.
Having a fall season is irreplaceable. I can't imagine trying to make up for not having a fall and then having to run practice for 4 hours in the spring to catch up on what I've missed in the fall. I can't imagine doing that as a coach. And it allows you to see so much more of where these kids are headed. And then you've got a better direction of where we need to go in that spring because you've seen what these guys are somewhat capable of. And you put them in pressure situations when you can, but it's irreplaceable. And, you know, I can imagine coaching somewhere that didn't have it. I would just feel like I was behind all the time. And, you know, very valuable time, very valuable time.
Biggest thing for us in my 3 years at Hartville, our basketball has just been so good. And, you know, 12 of my players played basketball this year. 6 of my starters were on that team. So the fall is really, I know it's way out, but that's when we get our stuff put in. And, you know, I preach that to them in the fall, like, you've got to retain this information because we're not going to have time to go back over it early in the spring. You know, it may be mid-April before we can get on the field to do first and third situations because we're playing so many games and we just can't get out there. So it's huge for Hartville baseball.
It is huge for schools to have a fall season for the schools that don't have football. Once again, that is Hartville, Mansfield, Purdy, and Crane, who do not have football. So they do get to play fall baseball, which is sort of like a second season. And last season, a couple of you guys may have played some schools from out of state, which are from Oklahoma. That is Hartville and Crane, who played Cheyenne, Oklahoma, which is in western Oklahoma. And I think Coach Josh Hughes from Purdy played Silo, Oklahoma. I'm not sure if Coach Joe Garrison played any schools from out of state, but when you compare Missouri fall baseball to other states here in the U.S., besides like Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Iowa, what's different about Missouri as opposed to schools as opposed to baseball in Oklahoma as well as other states that border Missouri?
Well, I'll start that. The one thing that I wish the state of Missouri would do, like Oklahoma, is they have a fall state championship, which would give our kids an opportunity to play in that. It's good baseball. There can be good baseball found anywhere you go. I think Southwest Missouri is just as good as some of those other states. And it's really neat to see some of those schools and to build those relationships and play those guys. But it's not something we get to do very often, but when we do, we take advantage of it.
I think it's big to be able to play those teams, and hear me?
No, we heard nothing.
Repeating the question, Coach Harmon, what makes Missouri so different about other states that border Missouri, say like in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, and Nebraska?
Okay, I'm not sure what you guys got there. I don't know how far I got in before I cut out.
2 words.
I just think it's nice to branch out. There's only so many Missouri schools, and it's nice to be able to play something we don't see all the time, and just get out and see teams from other areas, whether it's in the state or outside the state.
Coach Snider?
Hughes, did you play Silo this year?
Yeah, we played Silo 3 years in a row.
They're like a absolute juggernaut in the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
When we had fall baseball, we played, I think, 2 years against Silo, and then AMPO, and then when we moved into spring, obviously we lost contact with a few of those schools. We did go to Oklahoma to AMPO last year and play them and a school called Asher, Oklahoma. You know, I don't know if we can pinpoint what it is. It's not like this at some places, but you know, Silo and Asher. Asher's a school of like 94 kids, and they had a 6'4", 230-pound kid get off a bus and set 91-94 against us for 5 innings. And I saw him get off the bus, and I was just hoping he wasn't the guy that was throwing. Sophomore that was an Oklahoma State commit, you know, and I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you where Asher, Oklahoma is. But they play a lot more than we do. I know that. They play all summer and all fall and all spring. And like I've ran across some kids from Silo at some travel tournaments before. And we'll have clever stuff on, or I'll have clever stuff on, and they'll talk about coming and playing, and they remember it. And, you know, it's just a different experience. And sometimes it's nice to play teams that you don't play all the time, you know, win or lose. It's just nice to compete against teams from other areas. And it's good for our kids, especially with a program like Silo, to see how they're ran and you know, how they're coached and how disciplined they are. I want our kids to see that and understand that that's what a championship team, you know, looks like and has to do.
Coach Julian.
Yeah, we played, went down to Bartlesville a couple of years for a tournament down there, and played Fayetteville from Arkansas last year at US Ballpark. And we always try to play our non-conference schedule, try to schedule some out-of-state teams just because, you know, some people you don't see all the time. And it's good to see kids from different states and kind of, you know, how they do things and compare yourselves to them. And, you know, it's just nice, like Coach Snider said, for the kids to see different coaches and kind of the way they handle things. And just anytime you can grow experiences for kids, I think it's a good thing.
Coach Garrison.
Yeah, I don't play out of state guys but on a different level. I play a lot of class 4 and 5 schools. I say a lot. I mean, probably 40% of our schedule is above class 2, if not even more than that. Because, you know, like I said earlier, if we've got such high expectations for ourselves as a group and as a program, then we need to find out where our weaknesses are. And not that we can't find that out on our own level, because we can. You know, we were 7-5 this fall and didn't play over a class 3 school. I think we played a couple of them. But, you know, that just shows you what's out there. And also when I go play teams that are at a bigger level than we are, and they play a little different ball game, you know, it's a harder game. But I like to get our kids to buy into, I don't care who we're playing that day, I want to find a way to win. Sometimes it's an easy sell with the makeup of the kids you got. Sometimes they ain't buying anything you're selling. They think we're there to take a beating and go home, and that's very upsetting as a coach. And but you got to challenge your guys and show them what's out there. I'm talking about the specialty of Southwest Missouri. I think Southwest Missouri, let me put it this way. We have a great deal of quality coaches that put up a quality program day in, day out. I think maybe 30 years ago, or you know, even further than that, there was good ball, great talent in Southwest Missouri. But I think school for school, you've got more great coaches in baseball than probably have ever been at all levels. You know, you're not a baseball guy coaching against a basketball guy anymore. We're all special at what we do and take a lot of pride in it. And that just makes our job even tougher, I think. And, you know, this area is great quality programs, and everybody here, I find that highly respected of what you do and how you do it. And I hope that somebody says that about me as well. So.
Well, if you'd ever play me, then I can say that.
I'll get with you in the fall, buddy. I'm willing to come down there on a Saturday if we can't find another day, but I need to expand my schedule. Just
hop on Horn's bus and you two come down for a day.
That's not going to happen.
I'm driving if you do.
Yeah. Oh,
Trump, the question is playing or comparing Missouri schools to other schools that, if you guys may have played some schools from out of state, what makes Missouri special about other schools in, say, like Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Iowa, and Nebraska, and Kansas as well?
Was that to me? You cut out there, Adam.
That was to Coach Funk and you do, Coach Horn.
Coach Horn, go ahead.
Yeah, we play the last 2 years. We played Cheyenne, Oklahoma to open up the fall. We'd go over to Crane and play them. I don't know that it was any different style of baseball. They came in with like 14 or 16 games, I thought he said, and that was our first allowed date to play in the fall. The reason why I like doing it, though, especially in the fall, you wind up playing so many guys over and over. I remember my first year at Hartville, I think between the fall and spring, Coach Garrison and I matched up 5 times. He came out on top on 5 of them, but
you've got me saying several.
Just once.
It feels like a bunch.
It's nice to play some different people because, you know, in the fall you're playing we play our Summit Conference tournament, and we're playing all those teams again, just your conference schedule, and we're all in the same tournaments. It seems like that we do it all again in the spring, so it's nice getting to play some different people, you know, and then venture out a little more in the spring when you can. But no, I enjoy it. That's the only team I've played out of state, though.
Coach Funk?
We haven't gone into Oklahoma. We've gone into Arkansas and played Gravette and some schools like that. Being in the Big 8, you know, we play on the east side, and then we play a lot of crossover games as well against the West. And it doesn't really allow us to add other teams to our schedule. But we played Gravette, Arkansas last year in the tournament, and you know, just to reiterate what these guys said, I mean, baseball here in Southwest Missouri is about as good as it gets. I'm sure baseball in those states is pretty good as well.
Baseball here in Southwest Missouri is pretty much as good as it gets. You can compare it with baseball in mid-Missouri, northern Missouri, St. Louis, Kansas City. So when you guys look at all the regions in Missouri, say with northern Missouri, central Missouri, St. Louis, Southwest Missouri, Southeast Missouri, and Kansas City, what is different about Southwest Missouri compared to St. Louis? Once again, St. Louis, Kansas City, mid-Missouri, northern Missouri, and the Boot Heel.
I'll start on that, and I'll even add the difference between where Purdy's at compared to where the rest of you guys are closer to Springfield. Maybe Reed Springs is a little bit further than Springfield. Some of the resources are different, as in, you know, hitting facilities, opportunities to do different things. I think that's a little bit different. You go to St. Louis, Kansas City, Columbia, Jeff City, Springfield, you know, some of the bigger cities, and you've got 4, 5, 10 hitting facilities that kids can go to every night. You know, down here and where we're at, we're kind of limited on what we can and can't do. I think that's kind of, you know, one of the things. But I also think that down here in this area, like Coach Garrison was saying, you know, I think there's quality coaches all over the state, but I think this area is a little bit thicker. You know, I think we've got more guys that know what they're doing, and they're baseball guys, and they, you know, have some experience at even playing at a higher level, you know, the next level. And I think that's huge for, you know, when we're playing against each other, when you're playing against a coach that knows what he's doing, you can't just, you know, throw the ball out there and say, go win. You gotta execute, and you gotta be able to, you know, to take the limit to the errors and make pitches and hit the ball, you know, the best that you can on that day.
I think, you know, yeah, different areas are different, but baseball is baseball. If you got a team that can play baseball, you can go into any area and any state and you can compete. You know, I go up and watch the Final Four often, and, you know, I've watched Coach Garrison at Hartville and Coach Garrison at Mansfield, and if you got good players, you can go compete anywhere, even if you play a different style. And then sometimes you get there and you just run into a team that, not because of where they're from, but just because of who.
I don't know if he's done there. I'll kind of piggyback off of what Coach Harmon was saying about the Final Four. If you pay attention to the Final Four like he does, and then you talk about the conferences that we all represent, a lot of our conferences are represented every year up there, and then you see which one of them bring the big boy home back to us. A lot of them come back this way. You know, you got Willards and Rogersville's are up there every year, and then the Summit's been represented in Class 2 for several years running now. I know the SWCL's got some too, and then you've got, you take Valley out of the equation, and
Me and you both have state championships. Took Valley out of the equation. Yeah,
I've got 2 gone that they took from me, and and I would like one more opportunity to beat them. I'm not sure how to figure out how to beat them yet, but I'm not
better recruiting budget.
We'll not talk about recruiting.
He's got the biggest one in this group. Well, no, Horn might.
Horn's still got some eligibility left in his recruits, or if there are recruits. I don't want to pick on Horn.
They're not.
But a lot of those come back Southwest Missouri. The titles do, and it speaks for itself. It really does.
I did an interview about 7 years ago with Prep Baseball Report, asking what the differences were between different parts of the state, and I think that Southwest Missouri has done a really good job of closing the gap in a lot of areas that maybe we weren't as good in 7 or 8 years ago. I think it's a bigger difference at Coach Julian's level, at the Class 5 level, than it maybe is at the Class 1, 2, and 3. But, I always thought, and I know Coach McGee at Willard was in on this interview too, and he said a lot of the same things. St. Louis, their kids just hit at a different level than a lot of our kids do. And a lot of it does go back to, like Coach Hughes said, they have so many facilities that they hit at from the time they're little all the way through. And, they have – I had a kid from St. Louis on my team the last 3 years, and they started with individual coaches at like 7 and 8 years old for hitting. And I don't think that a lot of our kids get any kind of like individual training from somebody outside of a parent a lot of times until they get to us. So, but I think we've done a really good job at closing the gap the last few years.
I'll tell you this, I graduated from Kearney High School in Kansas City, and a lot of success there with Kearney and Liberty and schools like that. When you get down here in Southwest Missouri, it just seems like, talent aside, there's just much more pride for playing for your school.
Yes.
I think baseball it might not mean more. There's a different level of respect for playing for your high school and doing everything for that program and working your tails off. From my experience being in Kansas City and also playing in St. Louis and now coaching here in Southwest Missouri, I just think it means a little bit more to play for down here in Southwest Missouri.
I think another aspect too is further north you go, especially in early March, just the weather, being able to get outside. But those schools that don't have an indoor facility, or you can't replace an outside practice anyways. So what was it, 2 weeks ago, there was 6 inches on the ground from like Chillicothe north to the Iowa border. And, that would have been right in the middle of the season there if we were playing. So I also think, not that it's drastically different, but the weather is a better part for us down here.
So talking about the areas here in Southwest Missouri, or here in Missouri, when you compare Southwest Missouri with St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Northern Missouri, and Southeast Missouri. Now going closer to home, if you were to compare the Springfield area to the Joplin area, the West Plains area, and the Branson area, where do you think the hot zone is here in Southwest Missouri? Is it down in Branson? Is it over in West Plains? Is it over west in Joplin? Where do you think the hot zone would be for Missouri sports here in Southwest Missouri?
I'll answer that for everybody. It's in Willard, Missouri right now. I mean, and Scott's doing such a great job, and Daniel as assistant, and all those guys in that program he's running from the 6 and 7, 8-year-olds all the way up. He's got a program that we probably all envy and would like to be able to do at our own place. And so that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
I think it changes, from year to year and just different time spans. Mansfield's always been known as a good baseball program. Early 90s, we were the Final Four, same time they were. We were up there another year with Ash Grove, another year with Branson, and it's just kind of, it goes in cycles. There's been Springfield schools. Some of you guys have coached in the Final Four. Some of you've played in the Final Four, and it's the talent you have at that time. And then, like Coach Garrison has said over and over, is how good of coaches we have in this area. I feel like when we get that talent, we're able to push it to that level.
Coach Snider?
I agree that it varies, year to year, as to who, and where you're at. I agree with Coach Hughes that right now, Willard's got things rolling well, and Scott puts a lot of time and investment in that stuff. So, it seems to be the same schools a lot of times at your bigger schools, the same 5 or 6 that are winning state championships. So, I mean, I think, then you look at Valley in Class 2, it's usually a 50-50 mix. It's kind of like soccer. If you look at the soccer Final Four, you have about 2 teams that are there every year. Then you've got 2 new teams, and it's a big mix of that. And, we're high school coaches. We don't, recruit, and we have to deal with and have the players that we have. And some years they're just better than others. That's just kind of the way things roll in the cycle that it rolls. But unless you're Coach Hughes and you just run out a 22-win season every year, but you got cut off. Couldn't hear you.
Good assistance.
Okay. But, it just varies. And where we're all at, we know that some years are going to be better than others. Still put in the same time, put in the same effort, and, hope that you get lucky and get there.
Coach Julian?
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said so far. Just kind of varies area to area, school to school, and that's part of the fun of it, though, is kind of, seeing beginning of the year, kind of the uncharted territory, or the fear of the unknown, or the excitement of the unknown. And like we talked about earlier, everybody goes in with high expectations, and then, you're hoping to be one of those top teams every year, and that's what you work for.
Coach Garrison?
I think, Adam, to do our job, to do it well, you're going to have to deal with a great deal of disappointment from time to time. But at the same time, I think to do this job well, every year you're going to have to go in with the expectations, with high expectations. Otherwise, you're not pushing your kids, or you're not pushing yourself as a coach to get better. And, if you didn't hope for the best, then why are we putting all this effort into it if we think we're going to lose in the end? I think everybody here, boys are optimistic, maybe more so you might have a better feeling about it, but you're at least got some kind of optimism each year to where you can hang your hat on. And don't get me wrong, I'm the only one on this panel that's gone a full calendar year without winning a game. I lost 34 in a row one year, and it was devastating. At the same time, I knew I was doing what I should be doing. I knew I was called to do this, and pretty blessed to be where I'm at today. And after going through that, and then coming out on the highest end, on the backside of that is tremendous. And so I think as a coach, you can't let go of that high expectation and hard work, like these guys have said, and expecting a great deal every year, whether you get it or not. So,
Coach Horn.
I just kind of go back to what Coach Garrison was saying earlier. I feel like so many more coaches are taking pride in their programs now that, yes, it cycles around, but, even when you are on a down year, you're telling your kids, yeah, we're going to win a district title, but your goal may be, hey, we're going to knock somebody off and end their season early that we weren't supposed to. So I think that's what it makes it great. I don't think you can pinpoint one area because it does cycle around, but I do think the coaching, I'll go back to the Mansfield days. There was a coach I knew that always asked Coach Jones why he never left Mansfield, and he said, well, he always thought he could get 4 or 5 extra wins a year, just against guys he was coaching against, and I don't feel like that's really the case anymore. So
that's because he's coaching against me.
All of us.
I swear that guy's got more wins against me than anybody else in the state. I'll guarantee it.
He's got a few because of you too, though.
Yeah, I hope so.
My favorite line he ever said was the year he tried to retire and he came back in the Conway tournament. We were playing him. He's standing in the third base coach's box, looks right at me, and he goes, I knew I should have stayed retired. He was only gone for like 3 weeks.
He's a good dude. Probably the best. His record I think will stand forever. I just don't know if he might stay in it long enough and have the success that he's had. My goodness, Coach Jones taught me more. I told him he taught me more about what to do as a coach than anybody in the world. And I've had a lot of coaches I've played for or maybe coached with taught me a lot about what not to do. But he's taught me a great deal, and I pretty well, he gave me the blueprint as a player, and I've pretty well followed it, and maybe added to it a little bit here and there. Took out the bunts and gone my own way in some aspects, but no, a great deal of what I do is what he's always done. So.
Coach Funk, same question about comparing Southwest Missouri with the areas of Springfield, West Plains, Joplin, and Branson.
With all due respect, I'm not going to touch that. You go back to what Coach Horn said and Coach Garrison said. I mean, we're all perfectionists. We're going to work our tails off. We're going to expect a lot out of our players, no matter if we have returning starters, we don't have returning starters. That's just kind of mentality of the guys that are on this panel. So no matter where you're at, you still got to do your job and do it with passion. And if you do that, you'll be all right.
Do your job and do it with a passion. And in order to be a baseball coach, you have to love the game of baseball. I mean, it's pretty much a golden rule about being a coach is you have to love the game of baseball. Do you guys agree with that? Is the golden rule to being a high school baseball coach, not only here in Missouri, but in other states, is you have to love the game of baseball?
Well, I feel like if you don't, you're cheating kids.
I think we all can agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah. And they'll see right through it too. So
But in anything you do too, not just baseball.
Right. If you're just going through the motions, they're going to pick up on that quick.
Just pick up on it quick is definitely just love the game of baseball. I mean, if a coach is coaching baseball, he doesn't love baseball, what's he doing? You know, he can definitely just go on and coach another sport if he loves that sport. And now talking about, as what we heard from the news earlier today, is the Major League Baseball season is able to start in July, which they'll have spring training next month in June. Do you think teams will split up and go to Arizona and Florida, or do you think they'll remain in their host cities like St. Louis, Kansas City, Chicago, New York, all the cities that host a Major League Baseball team? Do you think the teams will do their spring training in their respective cities, or do you think they'll go to their spring training cities in Florida and Arizona?
Well, I think we can all agree we just want to see baseball. So we just want baseball back, and if Major League comes back, then that means it's one day closer to us getting to come back.
Would agree.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Agreed. Is with Major League Baseball coming back in July, it's one step closer to high school baseball coming back. And with the three coaches that are with us, Coach Funk from Reed Spring, Coach Julian from Glendale, and Coach Snider from Clever, you guys have to sit out and wait 10 long months from now. That will be next March until you guys get to take the field once again and just play schools on your home field and on other fields. So what do you guys encourage your players to do during this time in between seasons, as we are right now in May? But currently we are in a season. If the season wasn't canceled, where would you guys be right now in this season? And also where we are right now with the season being canceled, what do you guys tell your players to do in between seasons?
Well, we were supposed to be playing Joplin today at Joplin in our last game before district tournament, but our off season, September, with individual workouts and weights. Then Coach Dradden at US Ballpark hosts a fall league that we usually have a couple teams in. So they'll play in those leagues and just try to get as many reps and stuff like that as possible, and just get ready for the upcoming season.
We're just hoping to get something done this summer. We should know by the next board meeting what it is we're allowed to do and what we can and can't do. We're hoping to get some games in this summer. We just had our tournament in Omaha canceled today. So that kind of stunk. But I think a lot of teams are not going to be allowed to travel outside the state for summer ball. At least. But for us, like Jim and Chris and I, we just want to work with our kids a little bit. We feel cheated a little. I feel cheated that we didn't get the opportunity to spend as much time as we normally do with the kids. And that's what I'm looking forward to, is just a little bit of time with those guys before they dive into football in the fall and basketball in the winter. And then we'll do the same thing we've always done. We've got a program for the guys, and it varies whether or not they play a sport, fall and spring or fall and winter, and we're ready to go, next spring.
We're able to start all of our summer stuff June 8th. So we're going to hammer June pretty heavily. And then we'll end in right after July 4th. And let the fall sports take over. I also coach football, so July is a football month. And then, for guys that don't have fall sports, we need to be very very organized and deliberate in terms of the way that we approach the off season. And my staff and I have had meetings about what needs to be done at the proper time. With the best interest of the kids involved. So, starting in November, our off season will look quite a bit different than what it has the last few years. But agreeing with Coach Snider, the summer, and Coach Julian, I know agrees with this as well. The summer is going to be vital to get back out there, and if nothing else, just be with our kids. you know, and show how important that relationship is, and being out at the yard with the guys in our program.
Adam, thank you. We got it though. So guys, good to see you. Hope to see you soon. Hope to see some of you this summer. So
See ya.
See you. Hope to see you guys later. Now with the 4 coaches that have fall baseball, and now you guys once again do get the luxury with having fall baseball, with having 2 seasons. And so, same question applies to you, Coach Horn, Coach Harmon, and Coach Hughes, and Coach Garrison. What do you guys tell your players to do in between seasons when you guys are in between seasons, say like in the summer, maybe during the winter when basketball season's going on? What do you tell your players to do during the season so they can be ready for March?
I encourage my guys to play basketball. I encourage them to be multi-sport guys. And then if they don't play basketball, which if that's not what they want to do, that's fine. But we work on, you know, we give them quite a bit time off, let them heal, let their bodies heal. Then, you know, come middle of January, we're doing a throw-in program for pitchers, and we're in the weight room and doing a lot of stuff like that, you know, throughout the season and into the off season.
I agree with Coach Hughes. I do much the same. These guys need a break from me a lot of times, and you know, we ask them to do so much in the time we have them, and I encourage them to play other sports, get their mind going, get off of baseball and relax a little bit. You know, they don't have much. If you got a dual sport athlete in these small schools, they don't have hardly any time off from the entire year. And you start taking away a week of this or a week of that of their off time in between seasons, the month of October, and you've took their whole time off where they're not obligated after school someday. So I try to protect that from them as well. But you know, and the ones that don't play basketball, then we do an off-season throwing program, and maybe November and December throughout the winter. But yeah, it's on your own type of deal. But guys, I appreciate it. I've got to run as well. Good luck to all of you. Hope we see you soon on a field somewhere. So,
Hey, Coach Garrison.
thanks, Adam.
See you, Coach Garrison. Now, Coach Horn, same question is, with your fall season, what would you do or what do you tell your players to do when you guys are in between seasons, as well as same question to Coach Harmon as well?
We're going to keep everything the same this summer. Been talking with our boys basketball coach. We have so many kids that do both. We're going to both be done by July 1. We're usually done by the middle of June. We start fall baseball back up August 10th. And like I said, the majority of my guys play basketball. Last year we had 6 that didn't. So we give them off till after Thanksgiving to rest up, and we start doing some off-season throwing stuff. And then when January rolls around right after Christmas break, we really start hitting it hard with those guys who don't play both. But don't fight each other on that. I want my guys playing basketball. It's a big deal. He wants his guys playing baseball, so we work well together. But as Coach Garrison was saying, you got to give your guys some time. And even though we get to play this whole spring, if we didn't stop July 1st, we'd have a lot of guys by the time next summer got here going almost 12 straight months. That's just too much for kids.
We do the same. You know, we at the end of the fall, you know, some of them we have to take time off just because they don't think they need it. But once they do, they appreciate it, and then we hit it back up after Thanksgiving with the weights and the throwing. And you know, we're in a weird cycle at Crane where we don't have a lot of kids that do both. Some of our kids do, and they excel at it. You know, one of my kids was conference MVP, and then he was also a first-team all-conference basketball player. So it proves that you can do it. We just got some kids that don't right now, and we expect them to work with us in the winter. And if they don't do it, then in the spring it kind of shows. And they're always hungry to come out and get better. And after the fall we had, you know, they were really excited about the spring, so they worked hard this winter and didn't get a payoff for it. But we'll go in the summer up until the first couple of weeks of July, and then we'll be done. Give them some time off.
Just give us some time off during July after the spring season, and just get ready for the fall season, and also get ready for the next spring season. And so now, before we let you all go, if you got any final words, just say to each and every one of the coaches, including the two coaches that have just left us, Coach Justin Snider and Coach Joe Garrison from Mansfield and Clever, what would your words be to each and every one of you guys for when you guys go into next fall and next spring?
I'll go first there, and I'll just say, I feel like there's a great respect among coaches in this area, and this group in particular. I think there's a big respect. We hook up and play, and I feel like anytime I compete against any of you guys, it's going to be fun, but it's going to be a tough game. No matter which one of us has the better pitcher on the mound, no matter which one of us has maybe a better lineup, we're just going to compete with each other. I just good luck to all of you as hopefully you can get some stuff done this summer.
Yeah, I agree with Coach Harmon. There's nothing better than a coach's brotherhood, and these guys are in it, and I appreciate every time I call one of them, they give me what I need or help me out any way they can.
Just a mutual respect. I think that's what Southwest Missouri baseball coaches are. I mean, there's respect for programs. There's no doubt that guys do things the right way. They're men of character. It's an honor not only to be on this panel, but to be able to call a lot of these coaches friends. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's fun to compete against guys and kind of this is my 19th year in coaching, not as head coach, but been coaching against a lot of these guys for a long time, and you congratulate each other when one of you has a success, and talk to each other about problems or issues or rough spots or whatever the case may be. But yeah, like these guys have said, it's just a brotherhood, and wish everybody luck every year, and hope everyone has a good season. And then hopefully I can see you guys on the field coming up soon this summer.
I second everything all you guys just said. I don't think there's any more that needs to be added. I agree with all that.
Just agree with everybody with everybody else, and just hope to see everybody on a baseball field. And that will end today's Zoom panel for today. We hope you enjoyed us sitting down with 7 coaches from Reed Spring, Hartville, Clever, Purdy, Crane, and Glendale and Mansfield. Those were coaches Chris Funk, Coach Clint Horn, Coach Joshua Hughes, Coach Bryan Harmon, Coach Jim Julian, Coach Justin Snider, and Coach Joe Garrison. All once again from Reed Spring, Hartville, Crane, Purdy, Glendale, Mansfield, and Hartville. And for today's show, once again, if you'd like to stay connected with these guys from Reed Spring, once again from Hartville, Crane, Purdy, Clever, Mansfield, and Glendale, we will definitely post all their social links in our description box below on YouTube. And also, this Zoom meeting will also be on our Facebook page for you guys to check us out. If you'd like to stay connected with Ozarks Sports through our social media, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram. Also check out our Podbean and website. Those website links, all our links will be in the description on our YouTube channel for you guys to check them out. For one final time, I'm Adam Smith saying thanks to all the coaches for joining us today. And also thank you for joining us as we talk with our 7 coaches from Southwest Missouri. And once again, I'm Adam Smith from the Ozarks Sports Report saying